No, we didn't even know.
Are we in? Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, we didn't even know, to be honest. Like that's the beautiful thing about pods when you're just
No, wait. Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. You switched up because it's media now. That switch up was you man are the pros.
No, I didn't.
No, we're in it.
He was chilling. He's like, yeah, because yo.
No, but honestly, it's like when you're doing pods and you're interviewing, like we never know where the conversation's gonna go, bro. So it's just about having a natural, organic conversation, asking thought-provoking questions, and seeing where it leads you, innit?
100%. I felt like that with Bennick recently. So the Bennick one, I'm not gonna lie. Before the podcast started, you comfortable?
Yeah.
Before the podcast started, I wasn't gonna talk about his daughter. I wasn't gonna do that. What actually made me comfortable to talk about daughter was you guys' one with him, because it was kind of fresh then, if you remember.
Yeah.
And you guys spoke about it, like briefly, you touched on it, and I said, you know what? If he brings it up, I will do that, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? So when he did bring it up, and I felt like, cool. But it's just about being authentic in those moments.
That's it.
And what I do like about you guys, yo, Counter Attack Podcast with myself, Daps. Keep liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. We've got the biggest podcast in the game.
Come on, Daps.
We got the forefathers. We got the trendsetters, the guys that paved the way for guys like me.
Come on, Daps. You've been doing your thing before
to do their
us,
thing.
bro.
We got the Beautiful Game podcast. Whoop.
Love. Big up, Daps.
It's funny because people that don't actually know won't know this is your second time on the podcast.
Bro, it's mad because I remember when we first just started, this is before we were doing interviews on YouTube, you invited us in.
Yeah.
That was to, Brent's studio, innit?
Brent's studio, yeah.
So, obviously, love, man.
Yeah, man. So people won't know that this is your second time.
Yeah.
Your second
Check
time
the
on
archives on Counter Attack Podcast. Scroll down.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think there was even... Was there even YouTube? I don't think I was...
Yeah, it was.
I think
it was because we watched it. I remember we
I
watched
was
it back.
bamboozling you with the knowledge on the game. But yeah.
I'm busy who? Fam, do you guys even have knowledge anymore, fam?
No, we still watch ball, man. We still watch ball.
You guys
we
have knowledge
shown
anymore.
the knowledge, you know.
Bro, I know you lot are good at interviewing, but...
We show the knowledge in our research now. You get what I'm saying? So,
And I think that's the important thing. Like, I think there's people... You know what's so crazy? When we have these conversations, people are going to feel like we're shading people. But there's no shade. I want everyone to know there's no shade in it. But what I will say is that the research is a vital bit of what you guys do. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you can't, there's some players that are able to just make people comfortable, and because they're so comfortable, they can kind of get away with just having a free conversation or whatever. But then there's others who actually research well, and you guys research well, where even if, I'm pretty sure you guys can talk about this, even if there's moments in podcasts where it's not flowing. You know, some podcasts, they just don't flow. Yeah. But because you've done your research and you're able to actually have different things to talk about, it allows it to flow. Have you found that?
yeah.
100%. And the funny thing about our pods is me and Dot never talked before and said, this is what we're going to do. We just naturally go into the conversation. So wherever the guest takes it, we kind of like rock and roll with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. What's been one of your guys' favourite ones?
This is a tough question because I think about it regularly, and I think we've got a catalogue of like 10 to 20 elite podcasts. Like you can, obviously the Isaiah Jones episode recently, that's getting people saying it's your best. Andre Wisdom, Yannick Balassi, Eddie Nketiah, Alex Iwobi. There's so many.
This guy's like a proud uncle. Look at me.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers, like loads of people. This one's your best. This one's your best.
I think. In fact, you answer as well.
It's tough because obviously when we first started out, it was like the Zoom era. And it's like I always think of the one with Ebere Eze.
It's such a shame that couldn't be like...
Obviously, I put pressure on him to do it face-to-face, but he's big time now.
Yeah.
He's acting brand new.
I think that one comes to mind, but I almost look at like everything after that as like the second version of TBG. And if I had to pick one, I think it's mad because at the time I said Nketiah, and then after Nketiah we done Iwobi. And after Iwobi, I think we recorded Brit maybe 2 days after or so. And I was like, I think this may be the best one.
Brit.
Yeah.
That was a good one, but I feel like he made, because of his personality and whatever, I feel like he...
But bro, it's funny because I'm copy and pasting Deji's work at the moment. But like, when we done the Brit thing, like we looked at a few of his interviews and we were like, it's a bit of a soft talker. Yeah, he's not really going to give you too much. And then he came on our thing and he was just on smoke.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, that one was dope.
Yeah. There was something I was going to say about that one. Yeah, no, when I realised, I think the one that really stood out of you guys that I watched was the Brendan Rodgers one, man.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the reason why that was such a big one is because within this, whatever we're doing, and we're going to get into like how we find it and whatever, but in terms of getting players on and hearing players speak from an authentic place, you guys took it up a level and got the manager. Do you know what I'm saying? And what that does, it opens up a whole new world. Like, you can hear from players, you're probably going to hear something that you maybe haven't heard every now and then, but it's just nice to hear from players. But you don't really hear managers. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to have, and no disrespect, you're not getting Scunthorpe manager. You're getting Brendan Rodgers.
And at that time, he was like a top 4, top 5 manager.
Do you get what I'm
Leicester
saying?
were doing bits at the time.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And it was like a free reign conversation. There was no restrictions. There wasn't,
That's
you
it.
can say this, you can't say that.
That's it, man.
Literally an open book. So.
And so if I quickly speak about this platform, what made me want to do this platform was to bridge the gap between players and fans, and just create a space where they can just be real. You see, in that one year, it would have been if Brendan Rodgers showed up in that interview and was his normal professional. Like, he's professional in it,
Yeah.
but he was just calm. Do you get what I'm saying? And even at the end, this bit sticks with me. Towards the end, he said, "Listen, what you guys are doing." Like, he bigged you lot up at the end of it, and I was just like, "Do you know what? That is big for me, man." Like, how did you guys find like Brendan Rodgers?
Bro, he's a top man. Obviously, his Dots contacts, so Dot speaks to him regularly, messages him. But even at the end of that pod,
This guy, I'm tired of this guy, bro.
no, but at the end of the pod, I was like a fan. I was, oh my god, oh my, we just kind of, because it's like, yeah. So like, I was shocked, man, because that was like us reaching a whole different trajectory. Like, that was big moment for the pod.
I don't know, Daps, I don't know about you, but like sometimes, like when you do a recording, do you feel like it's not done until you actually see it on your laptop?
All the time.
Like,
All the time.
So like, it's one of those ones we done Brendan, and obviously it was recording via Zoom, but you're still like, bro, imagine if this didn't record.
Bro, that's what I always like. I always check, I always whatever, and I hear you with that one. I did. What's the one I can pluck out? Tavares.
Yeah.
That Tavares one, I was just like, I just hope that nothing goes wrong with this. Do you get what I'm saying? And even to have him like here speaking how he did, because you know sometimes you can have one and you be like, I got one. This is forget the person, but sometimes you know a good episode.
Yeah.
And like I listened to that one, I was just like, I've got one. And then like I said, I didn't believe Andy Cole.
Yeah, this is a legend of the community, face to face as
That's
well.
my best podcast ever. And you know what? You guys are gonna think I'm mad when I say this. I've never listened to a podcast back. Not even Andy Cole. To this day, I've not listened back to Andy Cole.
But why not?
I hate the sound of my voice, man.
Same.
Yeah, but
I got used to it though.
Yeah, I think you've got to listen back to see like your habits and see how you can improve and stuff like that.
When I'm editing it, I listen back enough, but I cringe. Like I legit cringe. I can't. Yeah, because you know there's how I hear my voice, but then there's how you guys hear your voice. But do you find though when people talk to you, or when you're having conversations with you, because you're so used to having conversations, people like you might not notice it, but people look at you like, I see why you have a podcast.
It's a difficult one in terms of guests looking at us thinking.
No, just
like public perception.
Yeah, everyday people when you talk to people.
Yeah, people say like we're pros at this, we're experts.
Yeah, even in the gym, like obviously I have convos in the sauna, people and that.
I don't know
Then-
about it. You have to relax with it.
No, you know, like, not in terms of obviously after gym and that. Like you speak to people and you just talk about ball, like Tottenham fan, Chelsea fan, and one guy came up to me and was like, "Oh, you should like be doing football for talking." And I was like, "Yeah, I do a podcast." Like, makes
so
sense. You get what I'm saying? So some people approach. Yeah.
Oh, shame. I thought that sentence just finished.
Yeah. Some people approach. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've definitely had that. Like, I speak to people. I can see why you do a podcast. But these times, I don't feel like I've got bad habits when I speak. My grammar ain't always the best.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Because, bro, we didn't go through journalism school. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So some of the questions that we asked, they may not be refined, but you know what we're saying kind of thing. But I want to, like, just go on a tangent a bit because, like, one of the common, like, sort of feedbacks that we get, Daps, is, like, audio quality or there was a technical glitch, and obviously we understand that and we respect that, and obviously we're always trying to improve our production, but it's so difficult when you're doing it by yourself, and especially when you're on limited time. Do you get what I mean? Where you've got the footballer for an hour, you're controlling 3 cameras, you're controlling 3 mics. It's very, very difficult. Do you get what I mean? And
I've had that problem before. I've had people like, because there's only so much you can do. Do you know what I'm saying? And as we're recording now, you saw me check everything is on.
Lights, camera.
You saw everything
mics.
is on. But if that camera suddenly starts, if that mic suddenly starts to short, and I can't, unless I keep looking over there. Yeah, unless I keep looking over there, like there's nothing I can do about that. So I hear what you're saying, and it's just one of those things where you just like, oh, if you whenever people have said that to me in comments, I always sorry, I'll do better.
of course,
Yeah,
That's what you can do.
sorry,
Because again, we want to make people's experience be the best version, but obviously at the same time, we're short on manpower, and I think obviously we're going to probably get into it, like in terms of how we're going about our journey. Because some people might think, you know what, these guys are sponsored or they've got backing, but this is literally just us working hard, building the relationships, putting out the content ourselves.
Yeah, and it could be a mad struggle, like even down to like the guests. Do you know what I'm saying? So people know your podcast to get guests. I don't know if people look at my podcast as getting guests. I don't know. But
Yeah, but you've been doing it for time. Like, how long have you been doing that? You've been
6, coming up to 6, 7
That's what I'm saying.
6 or 7 years. But like, I think people feel like it's easy to get guests on. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like people feel like it's easy to get people to leave wherever they are and come to you, innit? And speak on what it's been like for you guys having to try and get players on, and what are some of the struggles that you find?
We can go from A to Z on this one. It's a big struggle, especially at the beginning. Like, we were doing everything, like messaging non-league players on Instagram. So when we first started play interviews, we started off in the non-league route. I think a lot of people, because they see our YouTube, think, oh, they got Rio in their 3rd video. But before that, we were building like a body of work, a resume, messaging people on Instagram, Twitter, stuff like that. But I think once we had Rio on, like, the floodgates opened. There was a certain player, before Rio came on, he's like, you know what, I'm going to charge you like 3 bills for like a Zoom. Then obviously after Rio came on, he's like, no, I'll do it for free. No,
Do you do it for free?
No, it hasn't been on yet. It hasn't been on.
Is that through your...
No, not because of us, but obviously I think that time, that ship kind of sailed at that time.
Okay, without naming the player, yeah. Obviously I'm going to find out after. But without naming the player, do you look at certain things, yeah? And... Okay, so because of the way... Not the way he tried it in the beginning, would that ever be a thing where you're like, you know what? Nah, I'm not revisiting that one. Because you're at a point now where you've got the body of work. You know, you don't have to do things like that. You don't have to put up with certain things. And at that time, he was in a position to, you know, maybe do whatever. But because he's now going to see in Rio, he's now changed up. Would you ever look at things and just be like, no, do you know what? I don't even want that one anymore.
I think for me personally, when I was younger, probably. But as you get older and in business and in life, I think ego can get in the way sometimes. So if it made sense, I'll still do it. I'm not going to lie, I'll still do it. I don't take it personally, man. Like, I won't do something that's going to get in the way of the podcast. Obviously, at the time, what about you?
You might not better than me, but no. To be honest, I'm pretty much the same as that, because I also understand that it's outside of me. I don't think it's a personal thing, but there's one who I will never come on this podcast because of how we move. And I'm not going to say it on the podcast. I'm not going to say it. There's one that will never ever come on this podcast.
What, don't you know?
I think so.
Okay.
It's a guess. I'm not gonna say though.
Yeah.
What do you think his name begins with?
Oh, he's okay. Never mind then.
Okay.
Oh, even that one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that one there. Never, ever.
Yeah.
Never, ever. But yeah, no, he won't come on. But that's just because I felt like my time in was disrespected. I felt like I was disrespected because there's been a couple of times when that person should have come on. I mean, like, on the day, are you coming? Yes. 5 minutes before we're meant to start, he's not here. I understand people are running late.
Yeah, I think that's...
And then they cancel. Oh, yeah, sorry, I can't make. But you knew from before that you weren't going to. And it's happened a couple of times where I'm like, do you know what? It's got nothing to do with ego or anything.
It's just principle at the end.
It's principle. I can take the first time. When it's 2-3 times. And bro, me and this person, we chat on social media. Regular. Like, I've got their number. They always like, yeah, man, what, you ain't trying to have me on anymore. And then I just divert the
conversation.
I just divert the conversation. But how about you? Like, how are you finding getting players on, and what are like the struggles that you find?
Bro, I think it's tough, if I'm honest. We speak Daps. I tell you about the struggle because we share the same struggle. I just think you can't take it too personally. Do you get what I mean? In terms of like, there's a lot of things that need to align for someone or a potential guest to come onto your platform. So, for example, the timing needs to be right. They need to be ready to talk. They may be in a situation where they can't speak or they don't want to speak. So a lot of things need to align. And obviously, from a selfish point of view, we always see the positive for them to come on at any single time. Yeah. So, yeah, you can speak on our podcast. No, don't worry about your contract situation. Come and let's speak about it here and put a message out. So it's one of those ones that sometimes you got to take a step back and understand that the world is bigger than your platform, unfortunately. And in the right time, if people have given you their word and they come true, respect. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, it's tough, but nothing good comes easy, bro. Do you get what I mean? And we know that if we crack this thing, we can take it to the next level.
And I think that's the biggest thing there. It's about taking it to the next level. So if I even talk about like my stuff, so it's no secret. Like, I've had conversations with like Spotify and whatever in regards to like my audio numbers. But then it's just, they might say, not Spotify didn't say this, but other people might say, oh, but your YouTube numbers. And I'm like, but I've got great audio numbers. But they're like, yeah, but it's, and you can go on my channel now, and there's some that get like 100 views, some that get, you know, if someone says, oh, let me see your channel, I'm just gonna send them to Virus, because Tavara's got 70 something thousand views.
Yeah. So that's like a flagship episode.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? And then Lakonga got that, and Harvey Elliott got, do you know what I'm saying? But like on a normal, my views are up and down. So even with that, like, it's hard to not. There was a point where I was taking it personal. Where I was just like, nah, these man. When I look around at what's getting views, like, but then you don't want to water it down. You don't want to water down your content, because I'm not gonna lie, I could 100% water down my content just to get the views up.
So when you say water down, like, what do you mean in terms of what, like guests?
Like I could dumb it down. I could bring on. I think my platform. What I like most about my platform is that there's a bit of integrity about it. There's a bit of what's the word I'm looking for?
Substance.
Yeah. There's substance to it, and the moment I start coming away from that, or coming away from what my main, like the why I do the podcast, it's not me anymore. It's just gonna be.
So why do you do the podcast then?
Because number one, when I started the podcast, it was when I broke my leg, so I needed something else to listen to, or that other people could listen to. Because when I was listening to football podcasts, it's just people that have never played the game talking the most. And even if you've never played the game, I want a certain level of understanding. But where I've played, I find it hard to just struggle. I find it hard to just listen to just nonsense. Oh, he's rubbish. But why is he rubbish? Yeah. No, whatever. On top of that, the main thing as well was to, like I said, to bridge the gap between players and fans. I look at American culture in terms of sport culture, and the players there are free.
Yeah, you see it in their press conferences, eating
Bro,
chicken wings, they're
know what I'm
dressing
saying?
how they want.
They're free. You can't tell them anything. Do you not listen to Joe Budden podcast?
No.
No, I've heard a few episodes, but yeah.
I listened to Joe Budden podcast one time, and they were having a basketball conversation, and they were like, "Nah." This was during the bubble. This is during the bubble, the thingy bubble. So they were talking, and then he got out his phone, and he's like, "Nah, man, I'm calling KD." He called Kevin Durant. He called Kevin Durant on the podcast. Kevin Durant come through speaking. They're having a normal, and then one guy's like, "This person deserves MVP." Kevin Durant's like, "Why does he deserve MVP?" Yeah. Can you imagine calling a player here, one of them big? Kevin Durant's not no small.
Of course, isn't he? He's one of the top
bro,
5. Yeah.
Can you imagine calling Marcus Rashford on a podcast and say, "Marcus, do you think Saka should have got a thingy?" No, he shouldn't have got that. No, like they're not real like that here. Do you know what I'm saying? Because
I think there's a few like players that I think you can have that conversation, but they're probably not at that profile.
But then coming on a platform, who?
I think someone like a Jack Grealish. I think he's real.
No, he's real. But how would you now get someone who's real like that on that level on your platform?
Yeah, but that's for us to get to that level where it works for both parties. I get what you're saying, that obviously he's of a high status, so why is he going to come onto our platform?
It's no. It's not why is he going to... I'm just saying what it takes to get there. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't believe, and I might be wrong, I don't believe if I water down my content,
you'll be able to.
I'm getting that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why you guys have had the players you've had. There's a reason why I've had the players that I've had. Do you get what I'm saying? And I need to keep that. Do you get what I'm saying? I need to keep that thing that allows players to come and feel comfortable to.
Because what's funny is the players actually, they lock in, they know who's saying what platforms are saying what. Because even the other day when we done a player, like we're trying to get another player on that the player knows. And he like FaceTime the player and he's, I just finished the podcast, The Beautiful Game. He's like, I look into them. I watch the blah blah episode. Them guys are dope. I'm going to come on, but obviously right now I'm in a bit of a transfer situation. But yeah, I rate you, man.
And that's the thing, because that's why it's important to stay close to what, because you don't know who's watching. Imagine all of a sudden you man just start saying these men are rubbish and what.
That's the question I always have, and I think we can like probably move on to the challenges in that. But like that's the question that I always pose in terms of like, would you rather have, let's say for example, Daps, 500 people listening. But Daps, in terms of like, would you rather have 500 people listening, but it's 75% of them are important people or decision makers in football or like high stakeholders in football, or would you rather have the masses?
No.
What are you saying?
500. When you say important people,
so like footballers, directors, brand managers, and that kind of stuff, or would you be like, you know what? I prefer the numbers. I prefer the 30,000 of just normal football fans listening.
I don't know if I have a preference. I think I'm okay not having 30, 40,000 people. But what I do want is my own little community. As long as I got my little community, you know, I promise you, if I had 1,000 people listen to me every week and they were truly like engaged and whatever, I'm calm. Because you can make waves, you know. Like, if my social media presence in terms of what my clips do, if that translated to whatever, I'd be a happy man. Because people are always gonna, like, they're always gonna see. Do you get what I'm saying? But
the thing is, now it's about numbers. Like, it's sad or as good as it might be, numbers is the new oil. Like, if you get 50K, no matter what you're talking about, these brands are gonna be flocking.
That's it, man.
So that's the way of the world. So I think you gotta kind of adjust and see the world as it is, not how you want it to be, kind of thing. And that's kind of something that we've been thinking about, because we know probably our online presence isn't what it could be.
But to be fair, this is what I'm saying. Because I've seen some people get like 10,000 views, like regular, and that's enough for them to, in terms of other people coming. Like, for you guys, what's enough?
We always have this conversation. We go back and forth. One day it's one thing. I don't know. I just think our message is so strong that it should be getting out to more people. But that's on us in terms of marketing. You get what I'm saying?
100%.
It's like when you deep it like that. So obviously, in the grand scheme of things, I always try to look at it like, bro, like let's say for example your Tavares episode, they got what 70K or whatever, yeah. Or let's say our Eddie and Ketia, I think that's closing in 100K. But like, bro, when you actually deep it, like that's nothing. But it's nothing compared to the Arsenal fan base that's actually out there. Yeah. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's where it becomes tough, because you feel like you've got this golden nugget. Like, this is the most open, honest, best podcast that I've recorded. But it's not getting the numbers that it deserves.
But then, if you was to, in that podcast, sprinkle a little bit of nonsense. No, do you know what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect, Looms is my guy. So I recorded the podcast with Looms. Looms is my guy, my absolute guy. But Looms is a character. Looms will say some outlandish things. Do you know what I'm saying? And that podcast will do as well as any other podcast I've got with any player. But we're talking about, imagine, we're talking about the players and that's doing well. But we're actually getting the players. Yeah. Imagine the players we're talking about. Do you know what I'm saying? So I hear what you're saying, and it's just, I have that as well. Like, I did one with Jeremy Boga. I don't think people understand the levels of this.
Bro,
this is Atalanta player. Man, yeah. Atalanta. We're not just, like, we're in Serie A, Europa League, like, and it's like, oh, why don't people get, do you know what I'm saying? I don't know, but if I was to have an argument with Jeremy Boga on camera, that podcast will fly. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but even down to like the publications and the blogs. Do you know what I mean? They play a massive part. They play a massive part in it, and there's certain blogs that will 100% like post me, but sometimes when they post me, I'm like, do you know what? I appreciate it, but look at what you're posting. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and there's no consistency. There's no consistency in it. So I've had, let's say the ones I've had in the last couple of weeks: Denel Simu, Jeremy Boga, Benicophobe. The only blog I got from any of that was about Benicophobe talking about his jewels that got robbed.
But this is media, innit? People
gravitate to
do you get what I'm saying? That's media, though, innit?
But it's like, if you're supposed to be for the culture and your whole thing behind that. It's funny because I notice if a certain blog hears this, they're gonna think I'm talking about them. But I'm actually not even talking about them. I'm just talking about in general. Your whole thing is content. Why not just post the stuff that matters? Do you know what I'm saying?
It's not gonna get the clicks.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, I know as well, to be honest. But I know you're talking about. But.
No, but I feel like there's someone who thinks I'm talking about them, and it's not even about them.
I know.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, the only thing that got posted was about his jewels. And I was just like,
there's so much more.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man. That's why we try and not think about numbers too much. Even though we speak about it, I just see it like brick by brick. Let's keep building this body of work. Let's keep doing that.
That's all you can do, man.
That's all you can do. Control the controllables.
Like, I've decided, because trust me, I've been there. I've been there where you're just like, do you know what is the point? I've done so much in terms of trying to coordinate this podcast, in terms of editing, in terms of even money, like in terms of putting my money up. I've now gone record it, I've edited it, whatever, cool. I've put it out, and no one wants to view it. But then,
so don't you think that's our fault though? Like, we've got the content, so we need to sell it. It's like, okay, you've got the content, market it, 100%. Go to the people that matter.
There's that, but then there's also, it's like, okay, so hear this. It's all subjective, really, because I look at you lot's engagement on the podcast, and I'm like, this is what I need to get to. But you man are there, and you're like, nah, we need to get to. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's all subjective. And
I think that's life. You always want improvement. No one will be happy. Like, just say we're getting, I don't know, 3K. You want to see that next leap to show that you're growing. You've got a community. But
then, do you know what? At the same time, like, you know that you guys are respected. Like, the players see your pod. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, people see your pod, and at the end of the day, it's only a matter of time. It's just about how much you can take, but sometimes it's a bit.
It's crazy because I was speaking to Dej and I was like, bro, like when you actually deep it, 4 years ago we were doing Skype. I remember Skype audio, bro. That's how we recorded our first 3 episodes on a podcast. And now, when we tweet out a podcast, you have like Fabrizio Romano commenting, David Ornstein commenting.
Mad.
So like, you gotta have perspective. You get what I mean? Like a lot of these people that are flying, they've been doing it for 10, 15 years, bro. You gotta put your time in.
My missus was like, she was just like, you know what? Look how far you've come. That was the one that changed everything. Everything. She was just like, but look at where you are. Do you know what I'm saying? From recording in Brent's studio, just chatting football, struggling to get players on. Like, if you just take a step back and look at everything you've done, when you look at Sky, do you know what I'm saying? When you look done TalkSport, all right? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When you look at TalkSport, when you look at the people that you've had on, do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you had said when you come to my studio that first time, you lot's podcast, you're gonna have Rio, you're gonna have Brendan Rodgers, you're gonna have you'll never think. To
be honest, this wasn't even the plan. When we first started that, we were just chatting ball with the man them. So we've just been kind of going with the flow, seeing where we can take it. But I think when you look at it, we've done well, but we always want to do better.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think there's certain times you just got to take things into your own hands. So I said to you guys off thinking that you guys are like J. Cole. So like you drop your album, and then when the next album run comes, we'll see you again. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's stuff like that that I've just, my channel knows that it's coming, but I recorded last week my first MLS show. Okay. So there's going to be another thing coming out. Do you get what I'm saying? So that even stuff like that where you guys can just do a bit more when you don't have a player. Because I promise you, if you guys had a player on every single week for the whole year, your podcast would be, but it's not possible. But because it's not, it's not that it's not possible.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? I think it is, but possible. Not necessarily players. I think this is where you look at the whole footballing landscape. So you talk about technical directors, young players, parents, the whole thing, coaches. I think you can do it. But
that's what I'm saying. So if you was to do that every single week, these conversations
I think it's possible, but you have to plan like 8 weeks ahead.
Do you see what I'm saying? And when you've got job, do you know what I'm saying? Like you've got just life, and then a lot of it is outside of your hands. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but you can do that. But if you, let's just say most people ain't, that's not going to be the case for most people. So what can you do outside of that? You can just create a new show, be visible. What's stopping you, man, from being visible every week?
No, 100%.
Yeah, no, we always have these conversations, but we just need to act on it. Like,
it will do no harm.
That's exactly.
It's better than doing nothing. You get what I mean? But I think we've always had the sort of thinking where it has to be sort of relevant. We don't want to talk for talking's sake kind of thing. Do you get what I mean?
I hear you when you say that. But
it's not really us. We want to bring something that's not already out there. Everyone is talking about transfers. Everyone's talking about...
But for a while, you man were the transfer guys, bruv.
Yes, I agree with you. But in terms of like, when I say transfers about, let's talk about Declan Rice, blah, blah, blah. Is he worth it? Blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about that. Obviously, getting your insight is a different sort of thing. But if we did do something weekly, we want it to be different, bro. Yeah. And
do you know what?
You get what I mean?
No, I fully understand. So like, when I first started podcasting, there weren't, I don't think there was many. Touchline Fracas was around. There weren't really many football podcasts around, didn't it? And then I started getting players on. No one was doing that. They won't give my props, but it's fine. We don't need it. So like, but then when I saw COVID hit, and everybody, can you remember that time? Everybody was doing
journals, players. Bro, I remember that.
I was like, do you know what? This ain't a thing anymore. Like, it's not a selling point. It's not a unique.
So it's like,
It's like everyone's doing it. So then I was just like, do you know what? What can I do now? And then that made me then go and do the New York live show.
But Daps, we always knew that wasn't sustainable.
No, it was sustainable.
Like from the other platforms, like, cool, like anyone can get a player. Do you get what I mean? Like,
100%.
So it's one of those ones where like, okay, just give it a few months, everyone will be gone.
I say that to say though, like, you want to do something different. You don't want to just do what everyone.
Yeah.
And that's
else
our
is
thing.
doing.
That's what I always say to
Yeah.
Doc. We want to add value. I think whenever you're going into an industry or field, add value, do something different. There's so many people doing similar things, and to stand out or for your work to get sort of, geez, my phone's ringing. So, yeah, to stand out.
Is that Brendan?
Yeah. But yeah, to stand out, you need to be doing different things, man. And that's what appeals to us. And I think that's why we've kind of stood out. Because when we first started, we were talking about football amongst ourselves, and we were kind of fitting into a certain, but doing what we do now, I think we're one of a few. Rather than being one of many, you want to be one of a few. And I think that's what we're doing as well. There's other podcasts interviewing players as well that are doing good jobs. And we even speak to them behind the scenes. And it's a challenge. Like, we have conversations that yeah, I'm struggling with this, or how do you do this, X, Y, and Z. So, yeah,
Do you know what I will say though? Like, as much as I might not listen to their podcast, I do love that there are a lot of pods out there doing just trying to do their thing, because it makes it easier for us as a culture to like come up. Do you get what I'm saying? So even if I see you guys on the Sky, or I see someone else on the Sky, it just opens that door for other people, and I just like seeing that. Do you get what I'm saying? So I might not listen to their podcast, but I'll always rate. Yeah, do you get what I'm saying?
You like seeing people elevate and open up doors.
100.
Yeah, no, it benefits the culture. Yeah.
But what are you saying, you guys? Because all now, I've not seen one live show from you lot. What are you lot waiting for in terms of like monetizing and actually going outside of yourself? 'Cause I can imagine if you guys said, look, with your contacts and with your network, if you lot were like, we're putting on a show, we're doing this. Imagine what you could do.
We've spoken about it lightly, but I think this year, because last year we kind of let ourselves down. Like, we had some moments. Obviously, we had the Eddie Nketiah. We had 2 or 3 moments, but we weren't consistent. So obviously this year, me and Dot sat down. We spoke about all facets of the podcast in terms of the team, content, everything. And we said, you know what, like, listen, if we're going to do this, Dot, are you all in? And Dot was like, Dej, I'm down. I said, bro, I've got your back as well. So that's why throughout this year we've been traveling. We've gone to Manny a few times. We drove to Hull for the Cyrus Christie. And these are kind of things that say,
I was wondering when Cyrus did that one.
Yeah.
When was Cyrus in London?
Bro, so we said these are like things, so it's deeper than just going to do the content. It's like we're tying ourselves in. Because when you put in that sort of work, you got to make it work.
Bro, imagine, people have no idea what goes on. Before COVID, it weren't my first player, but I don't know if you remember, I did a player called
Leon Legg, we went to Port Vale.
Oh my gosh, bro, it was cold that day. Like, it was, bro, but people go and enjoy the content, but they don't know.
But that when we saw that, me and Dej spoke, and like, you know what, we need to step up, because Daps is fucking putting in the work, bro. Like, for you to go all the way up there, that's commitment.
Port Vale, bro.
Do you get what I mean?
Podcast. But do you know what? That's what it needs to. That's what needs to. Man's like,
No, because I think once you do stuff like that, it puts it in your mind that this cannot fail.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Because
are you really, you lot are saying all in, and I'm speaking to myself when I say this. We can say all in all we want, but are you really all in?
Are your actions all in?
Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean? And that's what I'm trying to be about right now. Like, and I'm not just trying to bring it up again, but that live show I did in New York here, I put everything into that. You know, I'm not going to joke. I'm not even lying to you. You know, I was going to quit the podcast, I think about 3 months before that.
Serious?
I'm going to quit. I was just like, what am I doing?
Bro, it gets like that.
I'm not lying to you. I was going to quit. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do a live show in New York. Because this is a real authentic moment I'm going to have with you. Like, yeah. So it got to the point, where I'm just like, oh, my belly, bro. I'm just like, the players aren't really coming like they should. I just didn't have the, do you know what I mean? I wasn't messaging people. I wasn't doing anything. And I got to the point.
We can relate.
And I'm looking around at other people. I'm just like, this ain't even good. It's not. I got into a space like this ain't even good what people are doing, but they're going.
So it's like you're a bitter.
Yes. So then I started questioning. I was like, can I even do this myself anymore? Can I even do this myself? So then I just said, you know what? Do the live show in New York and just try and make it happen. And to this day, the guy that recorded it, he still has not sent me the file. He still hasn't sent me the file, but I think because it's massive. It's actually massive.
Yeah.
But next time I'm over there, I'll get it. But that show, that's what made me just be like, do you know what? And there's a whole new world out there. Do you get what I'm
America's like an emerging market. With Messi going there now,
Bro,
it's gonna explode.
Jump on the MLS team.
Yeah, no, I hear that. It's mad because like that's the sort of moment me and Dej had when we went to Hull. Because I think it was a Sunday, and me and Dej were like trying to kind of like hide away from the situation that it was a Sunday. So I think I remember I rang Dej late on Saturday. I was like, "There's trains, man. There's no trains, bro. It's looking peak to get up to Hull, innit?"
How'd you get out there?
Drive, bro.
4 hours.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
Yeah, because
4
me and Dej were
hours
like,
one way, then we split the journey.
Yeah.
We stopped off at like Coventry, Peterborough. Okay, you've driven there, I'm driving.
yeah.
Got to
Because
site.
me and Dej were looking at trains. We're like, oh, if we get this 6 a.m., we might have to do a stop off at Peterborough. You know what I mean? We're like, yeah, this is actually not working. Any sort of route that we plan. Because what time was we starting? 11, 12?
I think it was
The
at
only
1.
thing-
We
yeah.
were meant to do it at 4, but obviously we had to like chat to Cyrus and say, bro, we need it earlier because we're going to be getting back home way time. So,
Yeah, so it was one of those ones where like, listen, like, it's obviously Cyrus is a respected name in football, do you get what I mean? But it's not going to get the maddest numbers. But this is the sort of commitment we need to show to all our guests.
That's what it is, man.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's not just about showing commitment to
Exactly.
because no, just it's easy to show it to Iwobi. Easy to show it to him. But like when you got players who, like you said, you're probably not going to get anything other than consistency.
yeah.
In terms of your feet. This is not a podcast.
Even wisdom going to Manchester.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
Like-
went. Obviously, people in the face of it might say, "Oh, you're going." But we're Liverpool fans. We knew the story inside out. We didn't have to prepare and that.
You know what's mad? That one I was actually worried about. Like,
Wisdom.
yeah, like after we did it, I was thinking, is this relevant though? You get what I mean? Like that's what I was honestly thinking, and then obviously we put it out, and it just absolutely blew up.
Bro, I told you, Bradley. Bradley's just like, nah. I'm not going near them because they'll ask me a question and get me. Yeah.
Nah, big up Bradley.
Yeah, that one blew, man. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, I keep looking at your fours, fam.
But you like them, yeah?
They're the only Jordans I like, fours. You see that box there?
Yeah.
It's the Oreo ones.
Oh yeah. I got a couple of them still, man.
A couple Oreos.
No, J's like different colours, man.
Yeah. No, those are nice, man.
I love my bro.
Yeah, man. What size are you?
What, you trying to say you want to suck my shoes?
Fam, I have to just roll back the years, bro. Just take the kids. Yeah, but yeah, it's about the dedication at the end of the day, man. And from when you guys are doing it, I'm honestly, but maybe it's just because it's in the zone I'm in right now. Because right now I feel like I'm locked in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm locked in. So it's just about continuing to push through, and something will come of it. Do you know what I'm saying? I proper believe, yeah, in 5 years' time, we're all gonna be in positions of like where the podcast it can be our bread and butter, but like it stems from that. Where, brother, I'm telling you, man, because
I hear it, bro.
It's just
I hear
about
it.
what you put in. You know what I'm
Definitely. It's
saying?
your mindset as well. 'Cause sometimes, like last year, as I said, I would say that the platform was in a deep depression. Like me and Dot speak every day. There were times we weren't even talking, or we talk about the podcast, and it's just what's family saying? But now we made the commitment this year that, bro, every day we're grinding. Even if nothing comes out of it, we're building the relationships.
It happens,
you
man.
Get what I'm saying?
happens
So
like-
it happens where you kind of fall off, then you get back on. But now it's like we're never falling off. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna be putting the effort in every day.
Yeah, man, and
making calls,
it's
messaging.
It's little things like a lot of people thought I knew Bennick from before. I didn't know, and I literally DM'd him, yeah, and he got back to me within like 6 minutes.
Jeez.
And he's got a platform of 1 million people.
Bennick's real, man.
Yeah, he's a
platform
good
of
guy.
1 million people. He got back to me and he was just like, yeah, we'll do it. And he'd seen the podcast before, and that's the thing. People have seen, and if he had seen it and then decided, no, I'm not doing it, then it lets me know that my platform's not doing what it needs to be doing. But I came away from doing what I used to do when I was first coming up, where I'm messaging people, I'm calling in favors. But bro, you know that calling in favor thing, I don't like doing it, you know. I don't like, yo, can you speak to this player? Can you speak to that player? But you got to put that aside. And if I hadn't had done that, none of the guests I've had recently would I have had. So I think sometimes it's about just getting back to just knowing why you do it and just behave like a child again.
Bro, that's it. And
behave like a child.
What makes me want to continue doing it as well is the reaction we get from players. Like certain players have like said to us, like, listen, what you man are doing are sick. That's the best chat I've ever had, kind of thing. Like love. Like when you're hearing that from the players, it's like, bro, we got to keep this commitment going because there's not many of our platforms around. So yeah, man.
And Des says that, but I also say it from the listener. I think that's important as well. Like, it's all well and good the players saying, oh, that's the best chat I had, but we've had like fans of clubs that have supported the team for 50, 60, 70 years say, listen, this is the best interview I've heard from a player or from a director.
No, and you know what? Those are the things that
exactly.
like. So I've had like, what was the recent one? Tranmere fans. Just like from bare Tranmere fans, and they're proper bigging up because of Danelle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I've had Atalanta fans like DM me like saying, oh, like one was DMing in Italian, and I was just like, brother, I just gave
Google
him,
Translate.
I just gave him the high five emoji. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and I think so earlier on this year, I was riding my bike to the gym, and then I was trying to like overtake a bus.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the story?
I think you may have said it on one of your pods, but what happened?
I was trying to overtake a bus, and I overtook the bus somewhere, but I've gone to a different lane. You know Oak Kent Road flyover?
Yeah.
So I was there, so I'm coming down Oak Kent Road as if you're coming from New Cross at the flyover, so I'm going to go down towards Borough. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I've gone there, but the bus is going straight towards Elephant. So I can hear the guy beeping. I'm thinking this guy wants to abuse me for something. Like, I'm like, what? And he stopped the bus, shouting from his window, just like, bro, where is the podcast?
Serious.
He's like, where is the podcast? You need to bring it back, man. Like, big up your podcast, man. That gets me through my shift. That gets me. And I was just like, do you know what?
That's powerful, man.
I rate that. I've had people stop me at petrol station. Bro, listen, I grew up very differently. Like, I grew up like, in Peckham, like real whatever.
Trenches.
When people are coming up to me,
Yeah.
it's a bit mad sometimes. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, I'd get people, one guy can't sell petrol, he'd look at me. At a petrol station, I'm just putting petrol in, you know. In my head, I'm like, have I got anything on me?
I might have to roll back the years.
Yeah. He come up to me, goes, bro, keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing it. And it's them. It's one thing getting the masses, but you know when it's your own people.
Yeah.
And like, so I hear what you're saying. Like that keeps me going as well, man. And listen, long may it continue, man. Like we are here to stay, man, and we have to be, because I think what we represent, and I'm saying we, and there's going to be other people out there who thinks I'm just.
No, there's loads of other like good platforms.
It's only because I'm talking here right now.
Yeah.
I think we represent something that is so unique and so needed in the culture, because if we look at our community as black people, we don't have many platforms where players can go and be who they are. And I think what makes our platform so good and what's made the conversations go the way they have is because a lot of the time they're speaking to their own people. I don't think that idiot, you can get anyone in Sky, anyone talks, but anyone in whichever platform you want. That Eddie and Ketty one is not going that way. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not going. You talking to Yannick Bolasie the way that is not going that way. Do you get what I'm saying?
And also, we have to big up the players, because you know, with certain players, there might be other people involved. We need to view that content. With those two players, none of that happened. Like Eddie came to the studio.
I can't believe Eddie was like that, because I know.
With his, like, because obviously now we obviously have a mutual. I know his cousin, so that was done in a different way.
Because
you get what I'm
that
saying?
agent there,
like there was a relationship. So we'd been speaking to Eddie like 2 years before that. We done the recording, nothing got checked. So when content is authentic and it gets put out, you can see it. So yeah,
man.
Same with Yannick as well. Nothing got checked.
Yeah, but I found as well, when they get to a certain age as well, it's easier for them
Yeah.
It's easier for them to like speak, because when they're young, they've probably got all these people in their ears. They're worried. Jermaine Defoe said it. You don't weren't at that live show, were you?
No, I don't think we were.
This is probably before we started. Was it like 2018 or 19?
Yeah, I don't know.
We started our thing 19.
So I had Jermaine Defoe on one, and he was saying that he loves talking now, but when he was younger, he was so afraid of like
Saying the wrong thing.
saying the wrong thing, being blackballed or getting dropped and whatever. Yeah. So if you like had to say, yeah, if there's a podcast that could have happened but didn't happen, and you look back at it and think, who would you say like that was? Does any stick out? Or you
In terms of names?
Yeah, in terms of names. Or you man just get everyone you want, family.
No, there's a few names that like we've been close to. We've had talks that we've actually.
What's been like the biggest one, if you can name them? That hasn't happened, but could have happened.
In terms of names, it's a difficult one because we've had a few ones. There was one where obviously Dot was going through email, and obviously I had a contact number for the person in it, and if we had done it at that time, I think it would have been massive. Obviously, if we do it now, it'll be big. So, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I
That
do.
one, like, he's like a OG of the culture, I would say. So people probably guess it anyway.
You're right.
You're not too far away. Let's say that.
I'm not too far from Ian, right?
Yeah, like
It's
yeah.
Ian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Did you? In fact, we'll talk after that. We'll talk after
That was one, but that was kind of like 12 to 18 months ago, wasn't it? So it
I
can,
think it was longer than that.
2 years, probably
Yeah, I
2
think it was
years. So
2
it can
years,
always be revisited. But we've had a few other ones, but I think these ones will still happen. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. We had a list of me and Tedra were talking about this the other day, bro. We had like a list of 35 players / managers / coaches / whoever in football. And I would say we've ticked off 3 or 4. And that was content that was meant to be recorded over the summer. And we've ticked off 3 or 4. So, yeah.
it's tough, man. It's challenging, but it is what it is. I love the grind. I'm not going to lie. Like every day when I wake up, I think, you know what? Let's get it. Let's make those calls. Let's try and get some content, man.
It's like one of those ones that, as we were talking about, like the ones that just keep the page ticking. It all adds to the catalogue. You get what I mean, Daps? So,
yeah, Daps, what about you as well? Any big ones that almost came through or?
Declan Rice.
Okay.
That's the easy one, and it's because it's relevant now.
Yeah,
so, and
yeah.
there's no chance I'm. Well,
Was
I'm
there
not going to
talks?
say.
Was there talks and?
So Declan Rice one was, I asked and I can name this one because he's big fish. So if anyone wants to get him, fair play to them, innit? But that one, it was going to happen. He was ready, up for it, and I was just like, yeah. But then last second, he goes, let me check with my agent. And I'm like, this is Declan Rice, man. This is like, next thing you know, I get the voice note. But I was going through, like Bradley, because him and Bradley are really cool. And I get the voice note saying, listen, mate, I want to do it, but.
Who's his agent? His dad?
I don't know who his agent is. Don't know. But it's like, I want to do it, but they're not allowing me to speak and blah, blah, blah.
Was that recently though, or like a couple years back?
Probably like a year.
Okay, yeah.
I swear you nearly got Uber as well.
Yeah, nearly got Oba. That one got shut down by the club. And but then later on, bro, I had the location, everything done. Like it was meant to happen. And the club were like, no, because they weren't performing well and they didn't want anything. That was when Emery.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mess. It was a mess at that time.
One. Pepe is one that I can still get now, but his English is just not good.
And that loan move wouldn't have helped as well with his English. So
yeah, you got gone back. Anything just forgot. But
yeah, you have these like near misses. It's part and parcel of the game. And the way I look at it is like, if you get everyone today, then what's gonna happen tomorrow? It's a journey. You got to keep building.
Man. This is why in between those recordings, you need to be doing stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But before we wrap up, what's your guys' take on the whole Declan Rice thing? Seeing as I brought it up.
It's an interesting one because in terms of the fee, is he worth that? I don't believe so.
Nope.
he's not worth it at all in terms of the job that he's going to be performing in the Arsenal team. But the one thing I would say is I don't see him being a flop. No. It's not like he's expected to get 15, 20 goals, get assists. His job is literally...
I saw someone tweet that today.
That...
For 100 mil, they expected 15 assists and 10 goals.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I said, yeah, okay.
I've always looked at it as a Liverpool supporter. Like throughout the course of the season, he was the midfielder I wanted over Bellingham, over all the potential players that we were linked with, 100%. And this signing is equivalent to Virgil van Dijk going to Liverpool when he went to Liverpool.
You think so?
Van Dijk was 75 mil. We all knew that he was an amazing centre-back, but no one said he was worth 75 mil. People are like, overpriced. Yeah. Very good, but overpriced. Declan Rice, I agree, overpriced. I think it's 25 mil over his value. I think he's an 80 million midfielder. But for me, he is the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League. He may not be that now.
Okay, thank you, yeah.
Because obviously Rodri is proven. He's just won the Champions League. You know, he's been bossing out Manchester City for years. I do.
And at this moment now?
Yeah, I'll take him over Casemiro, yeah.
In terms of age profile and longevity, or in terms of like quality?
You think he's better than Casemiro right now?
For me, I wouldn't swap him for any other DM in the Premier League. Well, yeah, I won't say he's the... Yeah, I think like he's someone he's not going to flop. He's not going to flop at Arsenal. He just he covers too much ground. I just think he's just going to be a monster in that midfield, bro. I'll be real.
I think in terms of Declan Rice, yeah, I want him at Arsenal. If Arsenal decided to walk away from 100 mil, I wouldn't be like, I'd be like, you know what, cool. What I do like though is that they'd be like, you know what, we're gonna have to overpay. Like it is what it is. We've overpaid, but we've got, well, assuming it all goes through, we've got the number one target that we wanted, and I truly believe he takes us up a notch. Because I don't think he's the best right now, but I think he can go on to become the best. I've seen enough of him to know that he improves our team massively. And I think once he plays because West Ham it's not...
Yeah, it's not the top level, yeah.
And we've seen it many times where guys are big fish in a small pond and they do well and then they go up. But I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be like when Lampard left West Ham.
Yeah.
And then went on to... I'm not talking about goals, by the way.
Yeah, I think Van Dijk is like the perfect sort of person to gauge into. Do you get what I mean?
Do you think though? Because I think Van Dijk had different qualities. When I look at Declan Rice, I think you can scour Europe and find players with similar attributes. Because let's be honest, he can run around, he can cover ground, he can pass. I think you can still get that at a cheaper price, 30, 40 million. But the only positive is the fact that he knows the Prem. Exactly. He seems like a good guy. So there's no bedding in period. But when you deep it, 105 M's, bro, it's mad.
Bro, why are we acting like the game is not gone mad, bro? Enzo Fernandez moved for how much? 100 and what million?
105. I think that's what killed. That's what
bro,
between that and Anthony. I think they have like skewed a lot of things.
There's many midfielders of similar profile to Enzo Fernandez. I don't think there's many of similar profile to Declan Rice, bro.
So what makes him unique? What would you say that this is a game-changing quality?
His physicality and his reading of the game. He can play that lone DM by himself and lock it up. He's doing that at West Ham, bro.
But no, he's doing it and he's had good games. But we've also seen many times where he's not.
I don't see that. Anytime I see him play, he's been their best player on the pitch.
Yeah, but
again, West Ham's a certain level.
Yeah, but that's
when you step it up to like Champions League.
That's not hard in like because he is a quality player. It's not like I remember Ajax a couple years ago had De Ligt and Sanchez centre back, and I remember De Ligt was the one that no Sanchez is the one that got the move, but they also had De Ligt, but De Ligt was really like West Ham. Declan Rice is by far the best there. He's obviously higher quality, and I truly believe that if he makes that step up, he will fit in. But it's not a given that he's going to be at that quality. I think he will take about half a season
I don't think so. I think he goes straight into that midfield and you see the
No, he
impact.
goes straight in.
The impact straight away.
But I don't think we're going to see true Declan Rice, how good he can be for at least until like the back end of the season. I think like we're going to see Declan Rice being good. I don't think he's going to be rubbish at all. But I don't think people realise the levels this guy can get to, and we're probably going to see that later on once he's bedded in.
And to be honest, there's pressure on him because Arsenal are basically hanging their vote saying, you know what, you're kind of like the difference between us winning the Prem and finishing second. So if Arsenal fall off and they finish, I don't know, 5th, 6th, there's going to be question marks. You have to be honest. So it's going to be interesting. But I see him doing well. But whether he's that guy to take Arsenal to the next level, I'm not sure.
No, you still need more because it's a bit unfair. Like, what I don't want is Arsenal to just buy him and all of a sudden...
This is your Liverpool window. When Liverpool fell short and then they came the next season and obliterated the Premier League. This is your window. Whether you rate Havertz or not, you're having that window. Do you get what I mean?
Let me say something about Havertz now, yeah. Havertz, and you can go through my tweet, I rate Havertz. The only thing that makes me question, and the thing is, I tweeted the other day, I said, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm happy that we have a quality player. I don't know what his best position is. And you can't help but think about what you've seen from Chelsea in the last 2 years. But outside of that, you can see he's a quality player. And if Arteta can tap into the Havertz that was in Germany or that we see for Germany, then get me.
I think this is a different project as well. When he went to Chelsea, there was like wholesale changes, 4, 5, 6, 7 signings. Whereas when you look at Arsenal, it's like it's a steady base. So there's 2 or 3 players coming in.
I feel like he'll fit. I just want to see how it, like what his role is.
So how would you play it? Declan Rice, number 6, Odegaard, Havertz, 2 number 8. So that what you're saying or what?
I don't know about that personally.
What are you going to play? You're not going to play him on the wing. You're not going to play him as a striker.
Because that's going to leave Rice with a lot of leg.
But he's the one player. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's why I don't think there's many of his profile. I think he's the one player that can do that by himself. Declan Rice.
Oh, shame.
So he can have 2
Havertz, shame.
8/10s playing next to him and still hold down that middle.
I thought you were talking about Havertz there, but it's going to be interesting. But very quickly on Liverpool, how are you finding how you guys are shaping up so far? Wait, you not just bought
McAllister.
That's it so far, isn't it?
Yeah, we're in the mud. Obviously, I'm not saying that we're gonna have a bad season, but just I think some of the strategy that's going on. I was speaking to Tej the other day. Like, I just think we've put this on ourselves because now it looks like this transfer window we have to make 4 or 5 40 million signings. Whereas if you got last summer right, you filled in some of the voids that you have already. So you would have had 2 players, or you would have been 2 players better off. So in this window, you can buy 2 80 million players. You get what I mean? So now it's like we're playing catch up with a poor budget, basically.
Too much to do. I'm seeing you guys are linked to Lavia,
Thuram as well.
Thuram. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing today Szoboszlai.
Yeah, he's a cold player, but
he's sick. But
I think in terms of us, what we need to remember is last season was a mad drop off. I don't see us being that bad with the existing squad.
No.
I think mentally and physically we packed up.
I don't think you're going to be that bad, but equally, because someone said today, Governor B, my guy, he was saying that he sees Arsenal finishing 5th or 6th. And I said, you see Arsenal dropping off that much, and other teams.
I don't see Arsenal finishing 5th or 6th. I just think people...
I said, you see that so much that you think we're going to finish 5th or 6th?
I think there's a stigma of Arsenal, though, that they bottle, obviously. Obviously, the 2 seasons ago, you packed up for the top 4 race last season. So people see them as sort of like the bridesmaid that you're always going to miss out.
We've also seen Arsenal for the last 12 months. Do you get what I'm saying? And
bro, you lot are getting top 4 next season.
But 12 months, is that a long enough skew to be able to...
For top 4, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're... Because, bro, the team's only improving, bro. I looked at the potential starting 11 and it looks tasty, bro. We have to give credit.
I think we forget that players actually improve. So Saka's got another season under his belt. Martinez's got another season. Odegaard is just... Odegaard's one of my favourite players in the world, you know. In the world. Fam, that guy, his football is just... Yeah. And then on top of that, we got the defenders. They're going to add in Timber.
Yeah.
Get me? So Anyway,
What's your
I think-
prediction for top 4 then next season? Obviously,
I can't say it right now because like
the business, innit? So,
it all depends where everyone's at. Like even when I look at City, like I look at the potential of Kyle Walker going. That's massive. I don't think people understand how big that is. Gundogan's gone. Who they gonna get
Bro,
into?
I'll be real. I don't think it's going to have any impact on them.
No, I tell you why.
Because this is what people said with Raheem Sterling, Gabriel Jesus.
No.
The thing is about Pep, the team is always going to play the same. And teams are not going to be able to handle it, bro.
100%.
Do you get what I mean?
That's not true. Because in the first half of the season, they were playing very differently.
Because they didn't need to. They didn't need to play well.
They were playing very
Because
very
I
differently.
think it was one of those ones where they're like, listen, no disrespect, we're in a title race with Arsenal. We know that we can catch them. Whereas if that was the Liverpool, they'll
I
be
hear
like,
that. But
poof,
if you
let's
look
check
at,
out.
if you look at the run from Christmas to the end of the season, the likes of Kyle Walker, the likes of Gundogan, who are looking like they're going to go, they played a massive part, bro. You've got Kevin De Bruyne, who looks like he's probably got a season or 2 left in him. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's one season on. You can't. That game even against Real Madrid, no defender is shutting up Vinicius like that. No defender is shutting up Vinicius like that.
on the cover, he's just a joke.
Yeah, do you know what I'm
it's
saying?
a
It's
joke,
funny because like Mane used to have fun with Kyle Walker. Like
Kyle Walker was rubbish.
Kyle Walker's always been
Nah, I'm not rated.
from Tottenham. I always said when City bought him for 50
didn't
mil,
rate
I was like, that's a top signing. I always
didn't
liked
rate
him.
There's a reason why you just said Money had a field day of him. He
Yeah,
wasn't
but
good.
Mane was just one of those players that he just couldn't really handle. To be fair,
Yeah, but
You know
now,
what I mean?
but now, if you had that Mane against Kyle Walker now, it would be even. Kyle Walker's got 100 times better since he's been at City.
no, because I remember like so many goals Mane's ran off him. Remember?
Yeah,
them,
but I
like,
think
even
he's
in
been
the
a slow
2-2.
burner. So in the last year or two, we've seen a better Kyle Walker. I think he's sort of.
Are you saying this Kyle Walker that you see
Yeah,
shut
like,
Vinicius is the same one?
Mane only left, last season. He was still. I remember the 2-2.
Okay.
Towards the back end of the season, ran off Kyle Walker. Salah played it through, bang, goal.
So if
Like,
you're
he's
telling me
given
this
Walker a
Kyle
torrid.
Walker is the same one from Tottenham.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were trying to say.
No. What I'm
Okay.
trying to say is that I think this Kyle Walker has been the same Kyle Walker for the last 3, 4, 5 years. I think so.
And that's how long I've rated him for. Before that, I wasn't rating him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, love for coming on. You guys watching at home, it took me about 6 months to get you lot on.
come on, Daps.
I had to,
Bro,
like,
we've been
I
trying to
shouted you
patent
and Daps
this.
ahead me.
if I tell you how much I paid to get them on this podcast, yeah, you guys, but no, love for coming on, man.
Love
and,
Daps.
and man, like I said, you guys are real like trendsetters in this thing, and you guys keep the culture going, man. And I like watching it because you do it for the right reasons. And I don't ever, when I watch you guys, I don't ever feel like, what the heck? You guys don't search for headlines. You like I said, it's just authentic, man. And long may it continue, man. So love for coming on, man.
No, I love my bro, man. Same to you as well, Daps, bro. We're all in this together, all grinding, the same grind with the same goal, man. So we just all need to keep pushing, bro. As we push each other.
Can I join you lot's podcast? Shut down, counter attack, and join you.
We can talk off here.
If I honestly came to you and I said, look, I want to shut down the podcast, but I want to come to yours, would you let me?
We can talk about it.
I'll say what our French teacher used to say. We'll talk about it later.
That's what I'm saying. No. But yeah, well,
Peace.
Peace.